You still there with me?
That what? Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Okay, good. No,
Actually,
I
it
had
took a minute for our podcast to actually get set up, and I think the pause on it just broke you up. So go through that again here, just real quick.
uh, I'm a Pisces. I'm sorry.
So
What
like
was the question again?
why you live in the desert,
Right.
right?
No, but you had asked how was I financially sound to get a business started, and the answer to that is no. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I had a day job, corporate America, and I was living paycheck to paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't getting anywhere. I was building somebody else's dream, and I wasn't meeting the goals and stuff that I wanted to. My motivation for me is my son, and he was getting ready to start playing sports, and I did not want to have to ask somebody to go watch his football game or his whatever event he was doing at the time. And so for me, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna jump out and venture out and get this thing going, and it's allowed me. I caught every football game last season, and
Awesome.
with the exception of a few that I was out of town for, but I went to every game. In fact, I was the assistant coach, and it was cool. And had I stuck with the day job, as I like to call it,
Mm-hmm.
um, I wouldn't have been able to see any of his games. So
Uh-huh.
that was my motivation. It was my son and living the type of lifestyle that I want to live, or at least get started into being able to do that. If that makes sense.
It does. It absolutely does. Now, how do you think this has affected your son? Does he like it that you're around more? I mean, what are the things that he said?
Well, I guess you probably have to ask him. I mean, JD, you know my kid pretty well, so it's as he's gotten older, I think he likes having me around more. He doesn't have to go to after school. I drop him off at school. I pick him up right after school. He's involved with extracurricular activities that I take him to that I'm very involved with. So I think he likes that, knowing that I'm there um, when he needs me. So.
Okay. Now, what types of challenges have you gone through since you decided to go ahead and make that decision?
How long is this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the financial struggle has always been a challenge. That's first and foremost, and then you got to hustle, and you got to one of the other you got to hustle. You got to know what you want, and you got to be willing to go out and not be afraid to go out and get it. And the biggest thing is you can't be afraid to fail at it. As long as you fail, you'll get somewhere. Just as long as you learn your lessons from your failure and you can readapt and overcome your failures. Those are probably the uh, biggest things that we have, that I have, and those are my beliefs.
Okay. Now, how long have you actually been working with the radio station?
Well, April will be 3 years since I started doing it full time. Will be April 1st of this year. Will be 2 years that I've done it full time.
Wow. Okay. And I mean, has everything worked out the way that you expected it to, or?
I don't know if I'm kind of a dreamer. I dream big, and I have a tendency to go big without having a whole lot of patience, as you well know. So for for me, it's been a learning experience. It's been a humbling experience, and I'm happy where I'm at right now because I get to do some of the things that I want to do. Do I
Mhm.
do I wish that we were further? Yeah, absolutely. But Rome wasn't built in a day either. A lot of companies, especially a lot of companies, period, takes 5 to 7 years before you really start doing anything.
Right.
We haven't even hit 3 years yet, and we've already are huge in our own community. So
And we are currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, we are currently the largest veteran-owned internet radio station in the country.
there's several other veteran-owned networks that are out there. Some that have radio programs on it. None that have as many as we do. We currently have 16 shows on the network, and we're looking at adding, like to have 20 by the end of May.
Right. All right. So joining us right now, I believe we have the power couple on the line. Am I correct?
What's up, man? Yes, you do. My husband's actually going to get on in a few seconds or so. He's going to do his best at least, but I'm definitely here. This is Cassandra Lee.
Cassandra Lee, one half of the power couple. I definitely appreciate you coming on. Adam, can you hear Cassandra?
Yes, I can.
Loud and clear?
Yep.
Outstanding. Well, Cassandra, Adam, Cassandra.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
Now, I came across Cassandra Lee and Paulo. I'm just going to call him Paulo CQ because I can't even pronounce the last name. I'm sorry. But everybody calls him Paulo CQ. And I came across them at an entrepreneur seminar. And I thought that they were just the most energetic, amazing individuals that I ever came across. And I thought, what better way to be able to bring in the decision hour than to bring on this awesome, awesome couple. So I definitely thank you for being on the line. Okay. Now, Adam, you know the system better than I do. Can you do a three-way call with Skype?
Yeah, if he calls in, you'll see it pop up, and just go ahead and click the green button, and then they'll both be on.
Outstanding. I hate technology, yet I rely on it to make my income. So it's kind of one way or the other. Now, Cassandra Lee, Power CQ, yeah, the power couple. All right, so let's talk about you here a little bit here while we're waiting on Paulo. Tell me a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what got you up to the point to where you decided that you wanted to become an entrepreneur and actually be in charge of your own destiny?
Man, that's a really good question. And what really got me involved was, I've always kind of been in business. I watched my dad do business my entire life, and I was always kind of brought up with the belief, really the best way to secure your future is to do it yourself, and not rely on someone else being able to do it for you, because at the end of the day, it's just not reliable, And so that was kind of my mindset growing up. I was very ambitious. I always had huge dreams, huge goals, like really big. And I was never afraid of expressing it. I told everyone about them growing up, and I would just state it with confidence. I met my husband when I was running a martial arts school, and he was like my student. And I was teaching him some karate, and I said, hey, would you like to learn how to, run a martial arts school of your own? And that's when I saw him slowly starting to embark on the business idea. That's why I asked him. I saw him reading, Rich Dad, Poor Dad books and just entrepreneur stuff, Mm-hmm. And so I taught him how to run, a class, and we started running a school together. We ended up getting married, and we were running a martial arts school together. And we realized, what we were passionate about. And our passion is people. And that may sound cliche, but, we really had this vision of quantifying what matters most to whoever, right, to whoever was in front of us. And so my husband and I said, we can do what we're doing here at the martial arts school on a bigger scale, right? Not just within the four walls, we can do this on a bigger scale. And that's when we resigned. And my husband and I said, we're going to do this full force, no plan B. Let's go out here and fulfill our vision. And we went full force. That's kind of like our story in a nutshell.
Now, I believe in the concept of no plan B, but there's some people out there that think that's a crazy concept because everybody says, well, you have to have a backup plan. Why no plan B?
Because then you are subconsciously stating that plan A is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I wish he was here right now. He has this story it's like to the T. But I forget who it was, so I'm going to butcher the story, but the concept is no plan B. It's like this guy, he has his men, and they're going into war, and they get on the ships, and they're going to go forward, and one of the guys says, sir, but what if we lose, or what if we can't make it, right? And he's like, burn the ships, we're not going back. Like, there's only one way to go. And I think until you commit that way, is when you actually can accomplish it. And it's the same thing with marriage. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to marry you, but plan B, I got another guy, just in case. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's like setting up the marriage for failure. And that's the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting way to look at it. Adam, your thoughts on that?
I plead the fifth. That's right. I got no comment.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with it. And you're absolutely right. When you have a plan B, then, subconsciously you're saying, well, if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to doing this. And I just wrote a blog, which is one of the longer blogs that I wrote since I started blogging almost a year ago. And it was about getting away from the poor man's attitude, the poor man's mindset. And part of that is because a lot of people have a plan B, so they're okay with failure because they can always step back and go back to exactly what it was they were doing.
Exactly.
So, but you mentioned that you're into the martial arts. You are a 3rd-degree black belt, correct?
Good job. Yes, I am.
I've studied up a little bit on my guest. Now, Paulo, what level is he?
He's a black belt.
He is a black belt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you two ever spar? I'm going to ask this before he gets on. Do you two ever spar at all?
Yeah, we do. I mean, sometimes it's part of just like our workout regimen, but we haven't done it in a while. I think we should do one and then film it for you guys.
I'd love to see that.
Put it out there.
I would love to see that. I'm interested in martial arts. I've never actually tried it, but I think there's a lot of things that you can take from it, not just physically, but there's a lot of mental aspects and a lot of things you can learn from martial arts. Adam, have you ever tried martial arts at all?
Yeah, I've studied on and off for the past 10 years.
Okay.
I do Kempo. Right now, I currently do Kempo and Aikido Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And what kind of martial arts did you do, Cassandra?
Well, my forte and the one I was rooted in is to be black belt in Shotokan.
Mm-hmm.
But we do also American kickboxing, Krav Maga, and Bala's favorite is Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay. Now, Cassandra, you shared a story a while back about the first time you had to break a brick to get your belt. I saw that post. I've been following you for a minute. And I'll go into that a little bit more once Paulo comes on. Can you share that story real quick?
Oh man, that's an emotional one, but I'm not gonna cry. I hate breaking anything, right? Like, I just hate it. It's not something I enjoy doing in the martial arts. When I competed a lot, my father would always put me in every category, and I never enjoyed that. I was like, please, I'll spar, I'll do anything but breaking boards and bricks and all that. I hated it. So I had never broken a brick before. I've only did like all the boards. And for my 3rd-degree black belt, it was required to break a brick. And I was like, ah. And so I had studied like all night, right, how to do it, and I saw like, you know, one of my good friends was like awesome at breaking bricks and anything really. And I watched like his form and everything, and I was totally confident the entire night. Everyone's asking me like, oh, are you ready? Do you think you do it? And in my head I was totally confident, like, yeah, sure. Like I had no nerves whatsoever. I get up there and I'm like, you know, doing the technique that I had already practiced. And I went down for my first strike, and that brick would not break. Like, it wouldn't break. And I was like, oh, my goodness, that hurt like hell. Sitting there, I was going, dang, man, this is not at all what I thought. And it's funny because, like, after the fact, my father said that he had footage of me as a child breaking my first board. It's one of those boards like that I can break with like a pinky now. It's really not hard to break. But he has a footage of me like it wouldn't break my first shot, and I'm like jumping on it, and it still couldn't break. So you can see my frustration. Like me and breaking boards and bricks and all that, we never really got along since I was a kid. But anyway, so I'm trying to break this brick. I think I had to have tried like a dozen times, right? And it's just not breaking. I'm in tears. My hand is swollen. I don't want to give up though. Like, one thing about me is once I start it, I have to finish it. I refuse to give up, and you know, it was one of those things. And I just remember looking into the crowd and seeing everyone cheer my name, and then I see my husband, like dead center with the camera, and he just looks at me and he's like, "You got this, babe. Like, you got this, right?" And it was like, I sat there and I looked at this brick, and I was like, this brick is not really what I'm breaking. Like, I'm not really coming here to break more than me, right? Brick represented my future, right? In fact, the year that I broke the brick was the same year Paolo and I resigned to pursue full-time our vision, and we knew that we were going to experience some hardship, right? And so the brick represented the challenges. It represented our future. It represented our vision. It represented the people and the lives that we wanted to impact, right? The way we wanted to pave for people, right? It represented my future children. It represented everything. I knew that if I didn't break this brick, everything you do in life is a parallel process. If I didn't break this brick, what else can I not overcome? And that's how I thought about it. And that this thing has to go down because I refuse to not overcome any challenge that comes my way. Like, I have to prove to myself I can handle it, so by first starting to break this brick. So at that point, like, all of that like went in my head when I looked at Paolo, when I looked at my husband, like all of it. It was like a flash, you know, just like flash before my eyes, right? And so when I looked at the brick, instead of doing it with my hand because my hand was all swollen, I did it with my foot. And the first shot, I broke it, and the whole crowd went crazy, and I was like, that's it, I'm never breaking the brick again. So at least I know I can overcome it, and I'm going to overcome anything that comes my way. So really powerful and significant moment for me.
That's absolutely awesome. I loved hearing that story. I actually watched that video that you put on Facebook a couple times. Joining us actually on the Hangout is Paolo. And what's up, Paolo? How you doing, bud?
Hey, man, what's going on, dude? Good. Thank you for having us here, man. We're extremely grateful that you invited us.
Oh, it's awesome to have you, man. It is. I was just going through a couple of things with Cassandra. You know, just a little bit about your background and why you guys made the decision to actually become entrepreneurs and become self-reliant. And she told her story. I would like to hear a little bit about you, a little bit about your background, and why it was that you decided to make that decision that, you know, you had to do this no matter what. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm sorry, I got interrupted.
That's okay.
I think I might get interrupted one more time. If I
That's
do,
fine.
I'm gonna pick it up and tell him I'm gonna call him back. But yeah. So what ended up happening? You know, 19 years of my life. You know, by the way, I'm actually Cassandra Lee's husband, right? And actually, for 19 years of my life, I lived a complete average life. I was always a kid who always wanted to speak up but never really spoke about anything. And I kept a lot of the things inside of my mind because I was so terrified of what other people were going to think. I was so terrified, what if I share this idea? Or what if I speak up? Or what if I give my input? Or what if I give my opinion? What are people going to say? And I think that was really what held me back for such a long time, because I decided to just be another face in the crowd instead of deciding to not just be another face in the crowd, instead of deciding to be myself. When I came here when I was 5 years old from South America, and the first thing that I did is I compromised my name because the teacher had a hard time pronouncing my name. My name is Paulo, but it's not Pablo, it's Paulo. And the way it's spelled is a little differently than how normal names are spelled. And every time the teacher would read the attendance off of the sheet that she would have, she would always have a hard time saying it and pronouncing it. So much so that I would start getting made fun of by the kids, to the point where I just decided to accept the name that was given to me, which was Paul, right? And I think that so often so many people are just accepting whatever society or whatever whatever beliefs or whatever thing has been handed by either their family, by other people, they accept it. I accepted the name that was not truly my name. I accepted the name they gave me, but what that really is.
I think we lost him, JD.
Yeah, I think we just lost Paulo, but hopefully he'll be able to jump back on. He reminded me. I listened to a lot of Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins says the best way to make a change is to find out where the masses are going, and then you go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Cassandra, if you're still on the line, do you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's also says it. You could just do the polar opposite of what everyone else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just huge. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Paulo's back. Okay, good. Go ahead, Paulo.
Hey, yeah, appreciate that, Jeff. You look so cool there, man. You look so cool in there.
Appreciate it.
I think your name is Adam as well, Adam. You guys look cool back there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys look awesome. I really appreciate you guys inviting us here. So, I just accepted the name that was given to me, and I think that so often that's just a representation of how many people just accept whatever life throws at them, whatever society throws at them, whatever family throws at them, right? And they accept that name. And I accepted being called something I wasn't. And, there's so many people out there that are accepting a life that does not belong to them. They are living a life that has been given to them by either their family, they told them to do something that they normally didn't want to do, or they're accepted a life that they believe that's the only way out. And I did that for 19 years. I accepted everything that was given to me. I accepted the friends that I had. I accepted the girlfriends that I had. I accepted just about everything and anything because I never made any choices. I never made any decisions. I almost felt like I couldn't make any decisions. I felt like the life that I had was the life that was given. I thought that those were the cards that were dealt to me. And even though they were, I wasn't using them. I was trying to just be another face in the crowd. I didn't want to be noticed. But everybody wants to be noticed. And the reason why everyone wants to be noticed is because everyone has something special inside of them. Everyone has something special. Everyone brings something different and something unique to the table that makes them unique. It's the reason why you will always stand out. And you always stand out in the crowd. You don't have to be another face in the crowd. You today can be someone different when you decide to join these two phenomenal leaders here that have brought us here. You can decide today to make a decision that you're no longer going to accept what people tell you about yourself. You're no longer going to accept the thoughts and the things that you tell yourself. I actually remember when I was 16 years old, I had just recently, they moved me to a different high school because my parents were moving around a lot because they couldn't pay they had such a hard time paying the rent and stuff. And I remember looking at myself, sitting down in the mirror, and I remember instead of speaking life into myself, I was telling myself all of these things that were wrong with me, everything that was wrong with me. It wasn't until I was 19 years old until I decided to stop accepting what people were giving me. It's when I decided and I realized that I had different choices. that I just wasn't meant to be another face in the crowd. And I'm not sure if whoever's listening, whoever's watching the show, if that's how you feel. You don't have to accept the person you've been given. I accepted being called Paul for 19 years. 19 years. 19 years of my life. It wasn't until this woman on this call invited me to church. She took me to church. I stepped into church. My life completely changed. It changed because it made me realize that I was special. I was someone special, and you're someone special. You know, you are someone special, and you have to believe that. You have to believe that you're meant for something better than what you've been settling for. The life that you've been living is not necessarily the life that you need to live. It's not necessarily the life that you will forever live. It can be if you continue on that path. But when you realize and you open your eyes and you expand what you perceive of this world, you will begin to start seeing different opportunities that are right in front of your eyes, opportunities that you have the resource to them, right? We all have different opportunities in front of us. All of us have different ways to solve problems. Some of us can't solve the same problems that you may be able to solve. Some of the opportunities that have been placed in your life will never be placed in my life, because it's for you to step up and make a decision and stop accepting what people are giving to you, right? And that's what happened to me. 19 years old, I decided to go to church. Then I got an opportunity to run a martial arts school with my beautiful wife, Cassandra Lee. They gave me an opportunity there, and I took it because I had nothing else better for me. And I just took it, and that's kind of where my entrepreneurship kind of started. I started learning about public speaking. I started learning about how to handle people. I started learning about business management. I started learning about how to sell. I started learning all of these things that I'm so grateful that I learned, because the truth is, in today's society, in today's world, you gotta have some type of entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? The jobs ain't paying you enough. Your paycheck is barely cutting it. You know what I'm saying? They're never gonna pay you what you're worth. I was in ShopRite the other day, and some girl was she was looking at her paycheck, and she was shocked for how much money she made. And I'm thinking to myself, how can anyone be shocked when they receive a paycheck? A paycheck is never going to represent what you're truly worth. No money in the envelope is ever going to represent what you're truly worth. What you're truly worth is priceless. And you got to stop being afraid, and you got to test your skills and your abilities into the marketplace, because this is what people fail to do. This is what I failed to do. I was afraid to let go and let God. I was afraid to test my abilities and my skill sets in the marketplace. Therefore, I never knew what my true value was. It was the moment when I decided to just say, you know what, I'm going to test my abilities and skill sets in the marketplace. I'm just going to put myself out there, that the marketplace began to start rewarding me, right? It started rewarding me because I just made a decision, because I started to serve people, right? That's what it's about. It's about serving people. It's about getting on the show and sharing with you guys some of the things that we've been through. It's about getting on the show and letting you know that you're special, that you can do this. If you just stop settling for if you just stop accepting what people have been giving you. But that's kind of like what happened for me. 19 years old, everything changed. And that's kind of where we began our online entrepreneurship as well. We stepped out on faith. And, at the end of the day, the common thread between a lot of successful people is that they're willing to go over and beyond and step over boundaries that we've been boxed into thinking that we cannot go any further. So I appreciate you for having me. Thank you for letting me share my story here in a couple of minutes. You guys are awesome.
Well, we appreciate you and Cassandra being on. Two things that I do want to go over here real quick. First off, everything you just said is pretty much the reason why I follow, and I follow Cassandra, because you guys have that power and that leadership. And this is coming for somebody. Myself and Adam Bird, we were both NCOs in the United States Army, which is all about leadership. And so we know how to recognize great leaders, and we know how to be great leaders as well. And, there's so many things that I've learned from the both of you that, unfortunately, we don't have time to share them all. But one of the things that really got me going, that it was an exercise that I saw the two of you doing online. It was called the 172 Challenge. And take me through the process, the thought process of that challenge. And then you're also writing a book on it. You have written a book on it, on that process. What is it that you think that people can take away from that challenge, and what is the challenge exactly?
Yeah. The challenge with I don't know. It was the strangest thing. I was about to turn 24. It was 72 hours before I turned 24 years old, and something just happened. I just started to look at the world differently. I just started to be extremely grateful that I was able to have lived 24 years of my life, or about to approach 24. And I wanted to step into becoming a 24-year. I wanted to step into 24 years old differently. And I said to myself, man, you know, we don't really have a good measuring stick of what we can do. I mean, if we had a measuring stick of what's acceptable, we'd probably know when we have a really good day and when we really have a bad day. You know, sometimes we don't know what to measure our days of whether we were, you know, over and beyond or we weren't. So I said to myself, you know, I want to step into being 24 years old differently. And I said to myself, I'm going to do this, the 172 challenge, which is basically 100 videos in 72 hours, and you put it on social media, you put it on Facebook, you put it on Instagram, you put it wherever you have a following. Because I felt like I wanted to do that. I wanted to stretch myself. It was such a large number. I had never pumped out 100 videos in 72 hours that I challenged myself because I wanted to stretch myself. I wanted to have a measuring stick to see what's good and what's not. And what I realized is that I was way more capable of doing it than I originally thought, which goes to show that most of the times, a lot of the things that we think may be impossible, a lot of the things that we think may be beyond our control are certainly not impossible and certainly not beyond our control. We can certainly be, they're certainly accomplishable, and we can actually make it possible. But how can we ever know if we don't ever stretch ourselves? So the challenge is really to stretch you. The challenge is to help you realize that you are capable of doing more than what you think. And when you go ahead and do it, it gets you into this mode of taking massive action. Because in order for you to shoot 100 videos, you got to be on, I mean, you got to, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's, like, you got to be shooting videos. Yeah. You know, Jeff, you know how that is, right? You're like shooting videos like nonstop, right? You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? So really, I just shot 100 videos. It was crazy. You can ask my wife. She did it as well, and it was amazing watching her do it. But it made me realize, and it created a measuring stick of what was acceptable and what was unacceptable, right? Because now I knew the action that I had inside of me. I knew what I was capable of doing. So I realized if I can do this, I can do anything, you know? And it was a good measuring stick to know when I'm being average, and it's unacceptable to be average because I wasn't made to be average. Neither were you. And when I'm really doing something phenomenal. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. It just came from the fact that I wanted to step into a new me differently. I wanted to stretch myself. And I encourage anyone who's watching, people who haven't done it, to do the 172 challenge. I promise you it's going to be life-changing, and it's going to make you feel you will be a different person if you're willing to take the challenge. You know, it's actually when you hesitate and you resist to take the challenge because you think it's too much or it's too difficult, that's when you really do it. Because the moment you have resistance in doing something that's going to better yourself and in doing something just because it's hard work is the moment that you should do it. Because what that's going to do, it's going to sharpen your discipline. It's going to make you a better person. Because opportunity will strike, and opportunity sometimes requires for you to put massive effort into it, a lot of work into it. If you do that, the opportunity in itself will reward you massively. But most people are not willing to do it because they feel that same resistance. So if you feel resistant to that, that's when you know. My wife was like, that's cool that you did it, but I don't, that's not me. And I said, dude, I said, babe, are you resisting? Because if you are, you should definitely do it. Because if you don't want to do it just because it's too hard, what happens when opportunity strikes? Are you going to be prepared? Are you going to be prepared to just capitalize on opportunity, or are you going to say it's too hard because it requires too much effort? What's more painful, living the life that you've been living, or solving and capitalizing on an opportunity, even though it's hard work, that would take you to another level in your life? So that's kind of where it stemmed from. That's where it came from.
Outstanding. And let me get Cassandra's thought on that. Cassandra, what did you get personally? What did you get from that challenge?
Man, you know, this challenge, by the way, hi baby. This challenge was what I thought it would be. Like, I thought this was just a little, you know, cool little thing I was doing, you know. I thought it was only that. Like, it was just, you know, things he was doing. He kind of goes into one of those moments where he just doing something and that's it, you know. But this turned out to be way bigger than I thought, like way bigger. And I guess people began to see that as well, because once I did, you know, then a lot of people started doing it. I mean, everyone started doing it, and that's what kind of pushed us to do the book and things like that. But anyway, the challenge itself, I thought literally it was just something he was doing. I didn't realize how powerful it was. I didn't realize how big it would be. And when he pushed me to do it, and I finally started doing it, man, I went through my own transformation. It was like, so many people messaged me from that point on about those videos, about the things that I said, about the things that I've done, and you know, I began to create this really big following. I began to be recognized. People who I haven't talked to in ages talked to me, and it was a huge, huge impact on the social media realm. And so many people saw the transformation that Dalo had, saw the transformation that I had, that they saw the transformation, having a transformation themselves. But the biggest thing that I got from that challenge, and I thank you so much, Dave, for pushing me to do it, is the fact that it puts you in mode of productivity. Like something that seems impossible to get done, whether it's 172 hours. But sometimes we kind of inflate any task that we have to get done. And when we don't get it done, we get discouraged and feel like walking away from the whole thing. So this like kind of forces you to like, it just increases your productivity, and you start to become productive in every area of your life. You get creative, you get inspired, you look about it on video, you start, you know, feeding yourself mentally, spiritually, physically to share with the world. You start becoming selfless. You know, you become so selfless because even though you have to complete this goal, the goal is not to be completed. The goal is that you want 100 videos done in 72 hours for the people watching. You know, so you become so selfless, and it really pushes you, man. It really pushes you. It was an amazing challenge.
Outstanding. And actually, I think I made the decision after seeing, I think I saw like one of the last ones of Apollo, and then I saw you were at like 50, and I thought the same thing. I thought it was just something, you know, fun to do, and go ahead and knock it out, and that would be the end of it, and I wouldn't really get anything out. I just thought it would be fun, and I'd be part of the group, and that would be it. Holy cow. By the way, I finished it in 67 hours and 30 minutes at about 2:30 in the morning. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, so I definitely appreciate you guys dropping that knowledge. And I know you guys have a team training that you got to get to, but there's two things that I also want to touch on here. One, what is Power Quantum? And two, what is Project 1000? Any one of you guys can take that.
Go ahead, baby. I'll let you have this one.
I was going to throw it to you, man. How about Power Quantum? You answer your project with that.
We're going to work together. Love it.
So, Power Quantum is it's a vision. You know, it's a vision that Dalo and I had created when we were dating, so even before we got married. And it stands for a powerful, sudden significance or increase in whatever you want, right? So we call it Power Quantum, and then imagine like a blank after that. So it's like Power Quantum Wealth. It's a powerful, sudden significance or increase in your wealth, right? Power Quantum Health, like whatever it is that you want, whether it's freedom, sovereign, debt-free, whatever it is, our goal and our vision is to quantify what matters most to you. And so, you know, we have created a team, you know, a huge team, a company, a coaching program, you know, just so many different avenues that we use the Power Quantum name to come up with that one vision. So that's what Power Quantum is. And those of you who are watching the Decision Hour, you need to make a decision to be a part of that, all right? But baby, go ahead and tell everyone what Project 1000 is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's powerful. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're listening to these two awesome dudes right here, man, you just need to lock arms and make a decision, because one thing I've realized is that those who have a vision and those who are actually moving towards something bigger than themselves, always the people you want to follow, right? Those that never go anywhere and those who constantly talk about problems and they talk about that are honestly never going to bring them anything are probably the ones you want to run away from. And the fact that these two are having a show, I actually I met Jeff, and Jeff actually came to Vegas, and he shared his heart out. He has this passion for veterans, and he shared his story. It was really really touching, and this guy has such an amazing heart. And I'm sure that the people he attracts into his business are similar as well. He has such a beautiful heart, man. He's such a pure heart, and this guy's awesome. But Project 1000, what it basically is, it's a vision that I have about creating 1,000 people, impacting 1,000 people, and helping them create the life that they truly want, helping them create the experiences that they truly want, helping them have more choices. Because here's one thing I've learned, that having more currency, having more money gives people more choices. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why people make the choice that some people do is because they don't have any choices. The reason, I'm living right now. I live in Jersey City, but these luxurious, whatever it's called, I don't know what my wife calls them, but I guess these are called luxurious living lifestyle. I'm not sure what it's called, but right next to them used to be projects, right? And they completely wiped out most of the projects around Jersey City. They're building these like type of luxury living lifestyle apartments, right? And they completely wiped them out. And the people who were living in those projects, they evacuated them from where they were living and they moved them to Newark. Now, did they want to move to Newark? Did they think they were going to wake up one day and say, dude, you got to get out of here because, you know what I'm saying, we pay for your stuff. Now you got to move. You got to bounce. That's what happens when you don't have choices. That's what happens when you don't have money in life. That's what happens when you don't have abundance and prosperity. You don't have enough choices. And if you don't have choices, I promise you're not going to be satisfied with the life you're going to live. So really what Project 1000 is about is helping people have more choices in their life so they can go out there and create the life that they truly want by design. If they want to live in the projects, that's cool, but at least they chose that. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever people want, right? And I just wanted to give that example because people in they all got kicked out, all of them. They got like, yo, pack your bag. We're tearing this thing down. We're creating other stuff here, right? They all got kicked out because they don't have choices. Right, and Project 1000 is about you, and it's about impacting 1,000 people, and helping them create the things that they truly, truly deserve, and that they've been dreaming since they were little kids.
Outstanding, man. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's really cool.
That is, Adam. Do you have a question for Cassandra?
No, I don't. I've heard a lot about you two through Jeff. I've known Jeff for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
And he does have a big heart, and I know Jeff's story, and it's I'm proud of him, I can say that, it's definitely because I've seen where he's come from and where he's at now, and it's like a whole nother person. And it's really exciting to watch. So I'm glad that he's a part of the the company that I own, but I'm also glad to just be his friend, and honored to be his friend as well. And he talks very highly of you two, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys at the next event, soon. So it's I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your guys' schedule to be on our inaugural show tonight. So thank you very much, both of you.
Hey, thank you guys. You guys are awesome, and man, thank you for having us here. And any opportunity that we get to where we can somehow serve the people and share whatever we've learned along the way, is certainly something that we don't want to hold back. We want to be able to give that to the people and to anyone who's listening to the show. Make sure you follow these guys. These guys are awesome. They're great people. And one thing that I've noticed that's been happening just this entire conversation is just how all of us edify each other. And I just think it's because everyone here is a good leader. Everyone here is a great leader. And, one thing that I've realized is the biggest thing that I lacked in my life was leadership. I never had someone that could follow. And the fact that you're listening to the show and you're watching this, whether recorded or not, it just goes to show and it goes to prove that these, Adam Burt and Jeff, right? These are two great leaders that you want to follow, not just today, not just tomorrow, but these are the type of people that you want to keep in your pocket, right? And they have an iTunes show. You can download it, because I'm sure they will, or they have one. But thank you so much for having us, guys. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it, guys.
We do, man. We definitely do. Cassandra, you have final thoughts?
No, I'm just so thankful for being here. You guys are awesome. Adam, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us on the Decision Hour. We really appreciate you guys.
Outstanding.
We appreciate you. Thanks, guys.
Right?
Yes, we do.
Go ahead and share that with our listeners real quick. Where can they get some more of your awesome knowledge?
Sure, it's blog.wearethepowercouple.com.
blog.wearethepowercouple.com. Can you, I don't know if you guys can do this because one's in one spot, one's in the other. Can you give me the user? You guys do this everywhere, and I can't let you off unless you guys do this opening. So go ahead and give me your introduction. Give it to me. Come on.
We got to start charging money for this. Okay. Hey, what's going on, guys? Policy Q here.
This is Cassandra Lee, and together we are
The Power Couple.
Outstanding, outstanding. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to let you guys go so you can do your training. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here shortly. Again, I appreciate you guys. I'll be getting together with you guys shortly, and hopefully all of us will be getting together in Nashville here in April. So I can't wait.
Absolutely. We're excited, man. Have a great night.
All right,
Thanks, you guys too. Thanks again.
Bye-bye. Take care, guys.
All right, Adam, man, and the Power Couple, man. That's a great way to open up our inaugural.
Yeah, that was something else. Great people there, man. Good call on that. And I've been looking forward to hearing more about them because I've as long as you've been in this, you've talked a lot about them. So that was exciting to have them on, and they're me being the two of us being a little bit older. Because we got the gray hair and stuff, but it's nice to see that the younger generation, if you will, coming up and putting it down like that. So that's pretty cool.
That is, man. They're only like 23, 24 years old, and I saw that, man, and it reminded me a lot of back in the day, because when I was 24, I was just getting out of the service, and I was completely lost. I was homeless for a while. And well, not entirely homeless. I did have a Suzuki Esteem for myself to fit in with all of my belongings here in the beautiful summertime in Phoenix, Arizona. And yes, the car was black. So I can definitely look back and see some of the struggles that I've been through. But at the same time, I mean, it's so inspiring to see people that just said, you know what, we have to make a change. The change has to happen right now, and they made the decision to do that, and that's why I'm a fan of theirs and I follow them. And age doesn't mean anything, man. They are
sure
wise
doesn't.
on their years.
Yeah, that's really cool to see. Like I said, it's the fact that they are as young as they are. It's nice to see that the country needs more entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. I just had this conversation with one of the other shows on the network recently, and that's what this country is missing. That we need more entrepreneurs in this country right now, and it's really cool to see that happening. And for us to be a part of that, it's exciting, and it's nice to know that we can help people make their own decision.
Absolutely, and that right there, my friend, is a pretty awesome way to go ahead and end our inaugural show. I mean, I thought it was a great success. I can't wait to see some of the guests that we're going to have on here in the future. Friends of mine, friends of yours as well as a pair from one of the shows here on Vets on Media that deals with being an entrepreneur. So, and that show, do you want to give a quick
that particular show is called the Entrepreneur Radio Network Show, and Brian, it's hosted by a couple people, and you got to check it out. That's all I'm going to tell you. You go to www.vetsonmedia.com. You can see under radio shows a list of all the shows that are on the Vets on Media Network. but you definitely want to check out the Entrepreneur Radio Network show. So
Outstanding.
every Wednesday, that show's every Wednesday. That'll be out. In fact, tomorrow morning that show will be right there in the studio where you're at.
Outstanding, man. It's kind of lonely in the studio right now. I'm glad you were able to join me. Hang out, man, because my sports show, doesn't start for another hour and a half.
Right.
So, I'm going to listen to some audios. I'm going to listen to some Tony Robbins. That's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to figure out how to really get started and how to make a change, there's 4 things that I do on a daily basis that I think that you should do every single day. The first thing that you should do is you should read a book. Okay, maybe not the whole book, but read for about 30 minutes. Okay, and you want to read books about people that are successful in the industry that you want to be in, or are living the lifestyle that you want to live. The next thing that you want to do is you want to listen to audios. Same concept on that. About 30 minutes a day. Listen to audios from people that motivate you. Listen to audios from people that inspire you. Again, similar paths that you want to be on, so that you can visualize and you can actually see yourself on those same paths. That vision is so powerful. The next thing you want to do is you want to write. You want to blog. I can tell you there's very little that I can really guarantee as far as like income and things like that on what you do, because it depends on you. But I can tell you this: not every blogger is a millionaire businessman or woman. But I guarantee you every millionaire businessman or woman has a blog. I guarantee it. They put their thoughts down and they teach others what it's like. Even Paulo and Cassandra, they have their blog as well. I've got mine. You have one that you've recently started up. Write it down, because when you write it down and you actually put it down on something solid, that is giving it power. That's telling you that this vision is real.
And Jeff, if I could add to that. That blog, it could potentially open more doors of opportunity in life for you as well.
Absolutely.
So it's really important to get your ideas down, especially and those of you that are listening, if you're anything like me, I'm a big dreamer. I got a lot of dreams and aspirations and things that I want to chase. So I write stuff down, and now I have a blog and you put things out there and get it out to make it happen. So
outstanding, bud. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank the power couple, Paulo QC and Cassandra Lee, for being on our inaugural show. I think this is going to be a great show for years to come on the Vets On Media Network, and we hope that you were able to get something from it, all the listeners, whether you're listening to it live or you're going to listen to it on iTunes, or you're just going to watch the Hangout on the YouTube channel for the Decision Hour. For myself, Mr. Adam Bird, I want to thank you again, and we will see you same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week with our next featured guest. So again, thank you so much. We love you guys, and don't be afraid to make that decision. We'll check you later.